Welcome back to Common Sense, everybody. I'm Wendy Bell. Never in my wildest dreams would I ever imagine doctors doing the work of the DMV and registering their patients to vote. I mean, beyond that, registering them to vote through Epic, that doctor-patient medical records software. No way, right? Like, that's crazy. My husband uses Epic. He's a cardiologist. Never once have I heard him talk about his patients' politics. He's focused on their arteries and valves, their ejection fractions and ST elevations. Not about them voting, but this is actually going on. That crazy line between doctor and activist just got totally blurred, and it's not okay. And did you know that this whole idea, the system that allows doctors to register patients to vote, called Vote ER, has 50,000 doctors signed up, ready to serve? 50,000. And it's all endorsed by some of the top medical institutions around, like the American Medical Association, Geisinger, and the American Academy of Pediatrics. I mean, just look at its landing page, which says every hospital and clinic in America has untapped potential to strengthen our democracy. Like, what does that even mean? Are you guys ready for this? Rich Valdez, the host of Rich Valdez America at Night on Westwood One, is joining us, as is Melanie Collette, host of Money Talk with Melanie on 98.7 The Coast, New Jersey, and Chris Arps, co-host of the Tim Jones and Chris Arps Show on News Talk St. Louis, 101.9, 94.1 FM. Melanie, this physician software called Epic, there's reportedly a script the doctors can read for registering illegals to vote. It's already apparently being done. Oncology offices, in the ER, even in psychiatric hospitals. Do you imagine somebody having a psychiatric episode is interested in chatting about registering to vote, Mel? I mean,
you know, just when I think that the government could not be any more invasive, just when I think they could not shock me anymore, I am shocked. And it takes a lot to shock me. I cannot believe that they are doing this. First of all, the last thing I would do at a doctor's office is tell anybody about my politics. I'm hoping that they haven't seen me on TV or listened to my radio show or know anything about my politics, because I don't want a little extra something when I'm getting a needle because it's some lunatic on the left that doesn't think I deserve to live anymore. So this is insane, and this needs to be put, we need to put a stop to this legislatively, like toot sweet. This is insane.
Right. I mean, Rich, how is using doctors as de facto elections officials even a thing? We have the American Medical Association to thank for this. In 2022, the AMA approved this resolution stating that election participation is somehow good for our health. And I kid you not, the American Cancer Society endorses this, Rich.
You know, I think we have to thank for this is the Fabian's School of Marxism. And their plan was to overtake Marxism through every institution ever. And this is a perfect example of that. This is them saying, oh, you know what? We can use the doctors. We can use the mailman. We can use this one. We can use Wendy Bell if she'll allow us, right? Obviously, hell no, that's not going to happen. But that's exactly what they're trying to do, use and prostitute, if you will, every single institution that we have for their benefit to gain power, amass power, and never let that power go. It's the usurpation of we the people and the power that we have in the consent of the governed. Crazy.
Right. Chris, isn't patient privacy the crux of HIPAA, right? The Medical Privacy Act that's meant to protect patients from unlawful discrimination based on, what, race, gender, and sex? Doesn't your doctor, to Melanie's point, assisting with your voter registration, doesn't that kind of smash that privacy? And what if your activist doctor doesn't like conservatives? Could patient care be compromised?
It could. And this is such a dangerous idea. You know, besides your spouse, or a close family member or friend, who is the next person in your life that you're really, really going to trust? And if your doctor, while you're butt naked there on a cold slab, is talking to you about your medical issues, and then he slips in talking about politics, you know, you may believe what he's going to say or he or she is going to say. I'll give you a personal example. I was, a few years ago, was taking my mother to her personal doctor, and this was when the pandemic and everything was going on, and she didn't know that I was involved in politics and in the radio and follow that, and she was like, going all out, trying to convince me and my mother to get a COVID shot. She was praising praising Dr. Fauci. He had come to St. Louis and had spoken at Washington University, and she had attended, and he was the greatest thing in the world. Republicans sucked. So just from my personal experience, no, I do not want my doctor asking me about who I voted for or registering me to vote.
Right, and I want to read you this headline, you guys, published in Psychiatry Online. It reads, Psychiatry's obligation to promote voting among patients with mental illness. I mean, is it a psychiatrist's obligation, Melanie, do you think, to target some of our most fragile citizens, like with bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, for some alleged do-goodery? I mean, how does this even pass muster?
I mean, I don't think it passes muster at all, but I do think it's kind of semi-comical that you have to reach out, that the leftists are reaching out to the mentally ill to get them to vote for them. Is there a connection there? Maybe so. I don't know.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, with inflation being what it is, Melanie, they can't give out cigarettes and sandwiches anymore. Maybe that's it.
That's right.
Insane. It's completely insane, and it's got to be unethical from a do no harm perspective. I just don't see how those two things go together and work well together.
They're not.
And there should be an investigation.
Vote ER, Rich, the program which has reportedly signed up these 50,000 doctors, like, it's led by a Harvard-educated physician named Alistair Martin, who, by the way, worked as a fellow in Kamala Harris's office of the vice president. I mean, it almost sounds like a Democrat voter registration grift, but I mean, color me crazy.
Yeah, well, I mean, again, that's exactly how they always work. And what's fascinating here is we've seen this before, whether it was the schizophrenics and their psychiatrists or nursing homes and going into nursing homes and doing these mass voter registration drives, getting mail-in ballots in nursing homes. Any way and anyhow that Democrats can get their hands on a vote, especially someone that's questionably not totally with it with their faculties, they're all over it. This is what they specialize in. It is a grift factory, as you mentioned. And this shouldn't happen, in my opinion. But I could see their argument already saying, look, every profession is committed to being a socially responsible citizen, and we're getting everybody civically engaged. So, hey, have at it.
I'm so done with the do-goodery. Chris, I'm giving you my last 30 seconds. When does this end?
It ends when we stand up and have shows like yours and tell all about this. You guys remember earlier in the year when the administration had put out directives to all the cabinet officials to devise a plan on having their workers register people to vote? It's the same thing.
Yes, it is. You guys, I'm so delighted to have all three of you. Thanks for coming on back.